Welcome, everybody, to this week's episode. We really appreciate you joining us. This podcast really shows us how we can all learn, live, and thrive off of each other. By sharing our knowledge through our conversations, we will impart some knowledge whilst learning ourselves how to progress even further. Here is your host.
Yeah, I think it's my turn to talk, so it's me, Terry Davies. And sorry about that, and welcome to Around the World Today, here on Podcasts by Real Terrio, with me, your awesome host, Terry D. So we're talking about coronavirus today, and I was just reading an article on the news that more than 19 million are expected to be furloughed in the United Kingdom because of the lockdown. Now, if you're new to this and you've only just come and you don't know what's going on, so the UK government started a scheme called the Coronavirus Job Retention Scheme, or the JRS. This scheme has been designed so companies can keep their staff but furlough them, and they can claim at least 80% of the employees' wages back from the government. Like I said, more than 9 million workers are expected to take up this offer. So it's, 9 million workers. 9 million? Where did I get that from? 9 million! Do you know what I mean? Okay, so according to this, I'm going to read you some stuff. So this is according to analysis by the Resolution Foundation, using the latest figures on the take-up scheme from the British Chamber of Commerce. So the cost to the taxpayer for this scheme over the next 3 months is estimated to be in around 30 to 40 billion pounds. Fresh figures are suggesting that nearly a fifth of small firms plan to furlough their staff, and 50% of the companies are putting most of their staff into the scheme. So that's half of our companies are putting their staff into the scheme. The job retention scheme is aimed at protecting jobs and has been widely welcomed by companies which have seen their incomes plummet because of the shutdown, which need help to stay in business. Understandably, they didn't ask for the shutdown, we didn't ask for the shutdown, but we needed the shutdown, so that's what we've got. The figures underline that the surge in demand for the JRS scheme from firms hit by the shutdown that would otherwise have to make far more people redundant, worsening the recent jumps in unemployment. Employees can be put on furlough, a leave of absence basically, and firms can keep paying them, but 80% of their wages, like I just said, are reimbursed by a grant from the government. The Treasury has promised companies that the scheme will be ready by the end of the month. Just love to know which month. Okay, so the Resolution Foundation think tank calculates that if this pattern is repeated across the economy, then at least a third of private sector employees, somewhere between 7 million and 10 million people, will be furloughed. And the cost on those figures would be, like I said, between 30 and 40 billion, over 3 months. Roughly similar to the amount the government spends each year on police and safety. Okay, if the shutdown continues beyond May and into the summer, the cost could be even greater. A Treasury spokesman said the purpose of the job retention scheme is to keep people in employment, protecting people's jobs and incomes, and reducing the long-term damage to the economy. BCC Director General Adam Marshall told the British Broadcasting Corporation So many businesses around the country need cash quickly. If they don't receive some of the funding urgently, by the end of the month mainly, many of them are going to have to take even more drastic steps. I'm afraid that we would see an increase in the rate of business failures, and we'd see a lot of otherwise viable companies going to the wall. That's why it's so important that the furlough scheme and other government support schemes get the cash out to the front line as quickly as possible. Ideas, thoughts. If you're a self-employed person, they've only, the government put this lockdown in place before they had all of the eggs in order. So now the government are playing catch up, in my opinion. At the end of the day, the government put us in a lockdown, but they have no plan of getting us out of a lockdown. If you ask me, it was bad management on the government's end. You take us somewhere, and it goes back to Brexit with this government, isn't it, really? They planned for Brexit, but have a referenda, but no one thought about what if this happens. So it all goes back to there. They have no clear plan on what happens if the UK left the European Union. Well, we saw what happened. 3 years of a mess. So, this government is quite known for a mess, shall we say. So back to this. Mark Reynolds, chief executive of construction company Mace Group, said that he's had to put 800 staff on furlough. What the furlough schemes enable us to do is to keep the capacity within our business, so that when we come back through this, we can then redeploy our people immediately so we can get back to work. That's what he told the BBC. Trostin Bell, chief executive of the Resolution Foundation think tank, said, by subsidising up to 80% of the workers' wages, the scheme will help millions of workers who otherwise face catastrophic hits to their living standards. The cost of the scheme depends on firms' take-up. The length of time workers need to be furloughed for. But in recent surveys implying that at least a third of private sector workforce could be paid through the scheme, it is likely to cost as much as 30 billion to 40 billion over 3 months. The economic and social cost of mass unemployment in the absence of the scheme would be far greater. Okay. However, the amounts to a grant safety net still has holes large enough for tens of thousands of people to slip through the net. Simple fix? Terry Davies, and I do apologise if I've said the name wrong, changed his job after the 28th of February cut-off date and doesn't qualify for the furloughed by his new employer. He's calling for the Chancellor to review the scheme, which he believes is unfair for many new starters. I'm really worried about what the impact's going to be for many people in my position, he said. It's a real simple fix, this. All they need to do is remove the cut-off date that they've imposed. Other countries are not following this model. There are easy ways to verify people's employment. I'd also like to see former employers step up during this time of a national emergency and rehire former employees using the furlough scheme, which has been especially designed to save people's incomes during this period. Okay, that's all good. This scheme is a good scheme because it's protecting people's money and wages. But I remember the magic money tree, and where's this money come from? Like it said in this article, didn't it? That the money that we're going to spend equals to the amount we pay for policing and the NHS. So, the basic thing is that the government just don't seem to care. If you just started a new job, from what I can see from reading this article, if you just started a new job and you get furloughed, or you've just been furloughed, and you only started in February, or before February 28th, good luck to you, or even after. So good luck to you. Because the government don't want to know. They've told you to apply for universal credit, and you've got to apply for universal credit. It takes 5 weeks to get your money. What's quite bad, 5 weeks without money. And these people, and most people who apply for benefits such as universal credit are in a very bad position anyway. So to make them wait for the money is quite bad. And yeah, they say you can get an advance, right? But what they don't tell you about this advance is you have to pay it back. Hence why it's called an advance. And they take at least half of your benefit each time. So it's going to be months before people who were laid off, so not put on the furlough scheme, were laid off, will get any money whatsoever. So I don't know. I'd like to know your thoughts on this. My personal thoughts are that the government should be doing more. The government needs to pull their fingers out and protect workers. There are still workers who aren't classified. Builders, for one, working on projects such as stadiums and arenas. They're not needed right now because we can't go out to them. But they're still classed as essential workers. How in the hell is building a stadium or an arena for events essential when we don't know when we're going to be able to use these buildings and events? Then you find out that these kind of stadiums and projects and stuff that are being built are run by local councils, such as Swansea City Council. Story is on our Facebook page about the council still building an arena in the city centre, but no one can fathom, firstly, when it's going to open, because none of us know how long we're going to be in a lockdown for. None of us actually know, are we going to use the stadium? So why are they continuing building the stadium? And then you see pictures of people just not following social distancing, so you know it's going to put pressure on our NHS, right? It takes one person to spread the virus. Look at the cabinet. It doesn't discriminate against anyone. Prince Charles, heir to the throne, had the virus. Once again, it doesn't discriminate. So my question is, have the government gone as far enough with these measures? Are there more measures that the government could take to protect jobs? To protect the people? To protect the workers? It seems to be that we're only caring about companies, we're not caring about the individual workers here. And I have a feeling that when the world gets back to normal, the workers aren't going to forget this lightly. Mainly because they won't. But that's my view.
Download episodes of previous shows.
And I'd like to thank you for tuning in. Like the thing just said, you can download our previous shows on Twitter anytime you wish. Feel free to. We have loads of good content on our YouTube channel too. You can take them out. You're on Twitter, Facebook, we're everywhere. And I'm going to leave you to it. And I will speak to you again soon. I hope you're having a good day whenever you're listening to this. Remember, visit our website, realterrio.com. And once again, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Around the World Today.
This week's episode has come to an end. But the fun doesn't have to stop here. If you have any questions, suggestions, or feedback, head over right now to Twitter and Facebook and like, share, and get involved. Join us next time.